Do. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. Glad you can make it out. It's good night tonight. We've got Loads of Bacon with us, a special guest. We're going to be talking about a little bit about powder choice when we're starting load development and why we choose one powder over another. And we got a full panel with us. And we've got my iPad with us, which is cool. See, I've sent some invites to Mooser and a couple of people. We'll see if they're able to join a little bit later tonight. But we'll go ahead and go around the bell here and see what everybody's been up to. So why don't we start with Bacon, because he's our guest. What's going on, brother?
Oh, just living life lately, trying to figure out which video is going to disappear next and whose channel it's going to be, and trying to eat and sleep and work, and sometimes just that right there is enough to keep me busy for 26 hours a day.
Yeah, too bad there's only 24. It's a real pisser. You gotta have to actually go back a couple time zones. So you like live in Pensacola to be able to do that, I think.
Well, if we had more hours in a day, someone would fill them.
Yeah, it's I know that's a lot for you guys, and I know it's a lot that's going on right now, and we'll get into a little bit of the Reloaders Network and how that'll help and kind of what our plans are later on for sure. So as the list goes, what's going on, Kyle? What you up to, brother?
Good afternoon, evening, whatever the case may be, wherever you are at. Hang on. Let me finish spelling a word because I can't multitask that good.
The word is B-E.
It's B-A-C-O-N.
Oh, I left out the N. Oh, my God. I'm doing good. I've actually got a lot of reloading work to do. I've been slacking. No pun intended. I've got a bunch of 44 Magnum, 308, 9mm, and 5.56 to load up because I'm going down to the shooting property next weekend and going to have some fun.
That'll be awesome. You just going down yourself, or you got a whole crew going with you?
I'm going to meet about 9 of my closest heathens down there.
Are you guys camping out, or are you just going to run down there for a one day?
Oh, no, we'll be there all weekend.
So you're going to get a lot of filming done, right?
I can do a lot of filming. Yeah, I can do a lot of filming.
How many chronographs are you taking?
None.
No, wait a minute. You just said, wait, now look, everybody, people think the country folk are slow. You notice that Kyle said, I can do a lot of filming. Not that he is. There was no commitment to any actual videos or filming. He just said that he could do it.
So what you're saying is that correspondence law degrees worked out,
huh? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, life's good. It's just like Bacon said, man. It's just busy right now. Work is wide open, and seems like as soon as I get home, there's 50 other things to do, and it's just trying to stay as least behind as you can be.
Keep that head above water, brother. So, Jamie, what you up to?
Things ain't going like I had them all planned, man. I took a day off from work today, and I was wanting to go to the range and film 3 videos, and I got nothing done. I just wound up staying in here in the reloading room and tinkering with stuff and trying to get organized. I'm still unorganized from moving everything in here, so that'll be going on forever. Yeah, I guess. But, yeah, I had to take a family member to a doctor's appointment at 2 o'clock, so that kind of wiped out the range and all that. I have gone to wet tumbling now. My wife bought me the Harbor Freight thing, dual drum, like Bacon uses. And I built me a drum out of a piece of pipe. But I'm not having real good success with it in the fact that my primer pockets are not getting as clean as you guys get. See how dirty that is?
Are you using the steel pins?
I am. But you said in your video, you said you used a pound of pins a piece in each of those 2 smaller drums.
I did. I found a 2-pound bag. It was kind of a refill type kit for people comfortable with full size drums, so I just split it 1 pound in each drum.
Okay, that's what I just don't have enough in there because I bought a 2 pound bag and I put half of them in that drum. And if you're using a pound and a half size of that drum, then I need the whole 2 pounds in that bigger one.
Nothing wrong with shiny, clean primer pockets, but it turns out the primers don't care.
Not one bit.
As long as that flash hole's cleared out.
Well, I'm with you on that whole reloading room organization thing. I saw the video that Charlie Brassstuffer, Charles Irby, what's his YouTube's Charles Irby, I think, that he put out where he was going across his reloading space, and there was all kinds of envy and coveting and stuff that I'm like, man, I need to get my crap together. So I spent a little bit of time in here working, and then spent a little bit of time perusing Inline Fab. I got to put in an order here soon.
It's funny how you can walk through a store and see the stuff on the shelf, or you see somebody else's reloading room and you realize just how inadequate your setup and equipment is. And then I think back to when I first started reloading. I had a single stage press temporarily bolted to a card table. It worked.
Well, the one that helps me with that is Josh with his lead challenger. Like, he's got a lead challenger press, and that's pretty much so really kind of it. And it's just like, okay, I don't need all this crap. I just want it. There's a big difference. But I like having those single purpose presses for some reason. I don't know.
I think I like reloading because I can go slow and kind of get precise, where Josh actually has shooting skills and I don't have that. So he really enjoys the shooting part.
Yeah, exactly. It's reloading. We can take that in our own control, but shooting, we actually need a little bit of talent for that. So Chico, what's going on, man? What you up to?
Oh, hey guys. My week has been different. I've been off for the holidays, so this is my first week back to work, and they act like they miss me or they couldn't do nothing without me, I guess. So that was a challenge. But I had the same stuff planned for my off week. I planned to go to the range and do this and do that. And as you guys know, we had a lot of rain in Georgia. So I was like, so I started just kind of doing stuff around the house. But as always, I'm always excited to be here and interact with the side chat and my panel members. And it's great to have Bacon on as our special guest. And I'm just, thanks for having me as always, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I do have to ask before I forget, Chico, do you eat pork?
I do not.
Okay, that makes sense. A little more sense. I'll forgive that one.
No problem. I know I stirred the pot last night a little bit with everybody.
Man, you trolled everybody with that beef bacon. All you had to do, man.
I can understand that one. Is he didn't pick up the turkey package, so it's all good.
I'll take turkey.
Yeah, the turkey. The turkey's not. It's no bueno.
I'd be okay if they called it turkey strips or turkey dried meat, but to put the label of bacon on there, just pardon the pun, but that's just foul.
Chico, I got something in the works for you, brother.
Who?
Okay, brother.
Oh, Chico.
I'm waiting on my local Ingles, at the bottom of the hill. He's supposed to call me when he's got a bunch of beef fat. I'm going to make us up some all beef sausage because I've got you and a bunch of other my friends that don't eat pork, and I'm doing all this sausage making. I'm sitting there just nom nom nomming away at work, and they're like, "Oh man, that smells so good." So I'm going to make a big batch of beef bacon or a beef sausage.
Cool, brother.
Got me talking about beef bacon. Thanks, bacon.
Oh, you blame Chico for that one.
Yeah, man, yeah. But you know what? To be honest, I know the comments last night on my video, they was like, beef, no bacon. I was like, if you guys haven't had beef bacon, it is the bomb. And I'm not just saying
beef
that.
bacon is delicious. Yeah.
Yeah,
It actually tastes like something. Turkey bacon, no, that's like the stuff.
Turkey bacon it don't even compare.
Chico, I was not aware you were Jewish.
No, I'm not.
We've got 35 viewers on. I'm gonna go ahead and call down the chat a little bit here. We've got some people that I haven't talked to before, but Vanessa
Damn,
Kitty was
that
that. What was that? Go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
I said, "Damn, Jamie, that was funny." It took me a minute. Okay, no offense. Go ahead, Karen.
So Vanessa Kitty was with us real early on with Daniel God as my judge, Fuzz and Fork 8, and Big Al. All you guys were on way before we started, so I appreciate you coming out. We got VBorg 001, 67 Rebel SSTAMC, Loaded Cap Gun, Michael Sines, GCM 45, Man with the Golden Voice, Willie Bullet Man, the Crazy Scotsman, Idaho Rogers USMC.
Catch up when you get done.
Oh, Ketchup's on. William C. Chapin, appreciate it, Curtis. SKS Hugo. And all right, let's look at here. Floyd Hicks, glad you can make it.
Here you go. Ketchup.
Uncle Jim, somebody needs a duster. I'm not sure who. I'd lost track of the chat early on. You guys were flying by the way.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate everybody participating, of course. Oh, Phil Rivers, glad you can make it. There's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
Need to figure that out someday. Joe Leadslinger, don't think I've talked with you before. Glad you can make it. I'm sure Bacon brings in a whole group of people because he's got a gazillion subscribers because he does good work.
You may have seen Joe. He just changed his name a couple days ago.
Aha! See, that's what's going on. Tricky folks. Philo, appreciate you. Cranky Cletus, of course, is in the house. Sean Tierney, if I haven't called it already. Fuzzed Fork 8. Janito, Cleanest from, I think it was Argentina. I'm trying to remember every time. That way it'll click because my brain is
originally South Africa, but now in Argentina.
Aha! See, your viewers better than I do. That's See, I'm
he and I met a little over a year ago on VidMe.
The preacher just showed up.
Oh, Preacher's Day Off. Glad you could come in. So we appreciate it, guys. Thanks for showing up for sure. What's going on?
Curtis asked me if I was on the horn today, and now I'm on the lineman.
Okay.
Curtis, I'm on the lineman. Sorry. You're welcome.
Bless my heart. So, Kyle, what you chewing on, man?
Perfect timing.
I got me some Parmesan chicken tenders and some tater tots.
Fantastic. Tater tots make the world. I had some of those broccoli and cheese tater tots today for dinner. I don't know. I had a late lunch.
I was hoping it was pork chops, so I could tell everybody that Kyle is not Jewish.
They're beef pork chops. Confuses everything.
I love Jewish people. We had a talk about Messianic Jews yesterday. There's a friend. Well, y'all know, some of y'all have seen Dale, my buddy. That he's been to the range with Kyle and I. He's been on a couple of my videos, and he came over for lunch with me yesterday and brought his son-in-law who lives in Denver. It's kind of funny. Dale used to live in Denver, and his two stepdaughters lived in Chicago. So Dale and his wife moved back to Rome, and they've been down here probably 5 or 6 years now, and now both of his stepdaughters now live in Denver. So obviously they were waiting on Dale and Terry to move out so they could move over in there. Anyway, I met his son-in-law, and that's his main ministry is to the Jewish people. He wants to teach about the Messianic Jews. So I thought that was real cool that he's made that into kind of his ministry. There's Daniel God is my judge. Welcome, brother. Thanks for coming.
We also
you guys.
Measuring Grains as well as in the chat, and I wanted to bring up I've got an unboxing that I'm going to do around 9 o'clock here that comes from Mig. So thanks for coming out, Mig, and I'm looking forward to whatever it is that's in this much heavier box than what I expected. So, Bacon, what you thinking about this whole canceling the videos, moving to TRN? What's the best bet? How are we going to do it? What do you need from us? Is there a monkey involved?
We won't talk about the monkeys. There's trade secrets there. There's a lot of people still seem to be surprised, shocked. I've been expecting YouTube to do this kind of thing for a year and a half now. So I don't like it, but it doesn't surprise me. I think it was yesterday, TATV Canada said, "Hey, I just had another video deleted." It was one of his videos about water quenching. Taco just had his third video deleted. I don't foresee this getting any better. So my thought is the Reloaders Network is a great place. Now, it's not the only place. If folks, the content creators, want to continue to have videos and have content put out, there's a number of options of places to host your content, and just make sure your viewers know where they can find you and have a plan for if and when your YouTube channel either partially or completely disappears.
Preacher's Day Off seems to think there's some kind of correlation between facial recognition and video deletion. I don't know if I buy that on that. I think we got too small of a sample size for making those kinds of claims.
Four of mine, and I don't think I showed my face in any of them. I think figuratively I've shown my backside several times, but
yeah, I'm with you on that. This whole thing is kind of interesting. What was it, that was about a year ago ish, a little less than a year ago. We all kind of saw the writing on the wall. They put out the new policy.
Yeah, that came out in middle of March. Yeah,
we had our Chicken Little moment where, they were going to boot us all off in 10 hours. And they didn't. They waited, and they just kind of slowly built up, and now they're kind of pushing us out the door. And to be honest with you, I wish they would have given some kind of notification that was their plan, because then it would have seemed almost upright. Like, hey, this is our new policy. This is the way we're going to do this. We're going to give you guys 8 months, 10 months, or whatever to transition off or transition your content.
Well, I don't think they know what their plan is. I think they're making it up as they go.
I agree. I think that's exactly what's going on. So
and I think a lot of it too isn't really now. No doubt, Google and YouTube corporately are very anti-freedom, personal rights, to include firearms. But really, they're driven a lot by advertiser dollars, and so they can't tell you whether or not your content is good or not, because tomorrow some advertiser may say, "I don't like that content," and then it's no good.
Yeah. It's funny though, because because of the videos that I watch, I don't typically see advertisement that would be, like they wouldn't be against gun content, right? Because all I see is like 511 and NRA and Gun Owners of America, and that's what I typically see because there's the channels I'm usually on. But I'm sure there's all kinds of crap out there about, squatty potty stuff that's not, down with gun content or whatever company. So I'm sure that's going on.
Yeah, but the channels that really bring in the big dollar advertisers are probably not the channels you watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't watch toy channels and shit like that. So I know that I'm not, But like you said earlier, I think it was 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, there's even videos being pulled from non-monetized channels.
Oh, yeah, since the beginning. Looking at the trends, there may be some trends, monetized versus non, but I don't think there is. There's been channels with 24 subscribers, which I guarantee are not monetized, that have lost videos as well.
So how is it? What do you recommend for some of our viewers that are starting channels or have smaller channels that are wanting to move forward? Do you think that it's worth it to continue to try to eke out YouTube until basically they're booted? Or do you think it should be a full sale, just move off and forget about it?
I don't think either way is wrong, as long as you approach it knowing that your channel is in jeopardy just by nature of the fact that you like firearms on YouTube. But YouTube's still, I think, the number 2 website in the world that, that's where the bulk of people are. So if you are trying to gain a following of people that don't know you yet, your best chance right now to do that's on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's how I met all you guys. Is I just started commenting on your videos and started making a few of mine, because then 1 or 2 are nice of you. I was like, well, who the hell's this guy? And then check my channel, and they're like, oh, he's actually posting content, and reached out, and now we're all friends. So it's kind of, that's why I'm hesitant to pull out of YouTube. I want to pull the content out of YouTube that goes against the policy, but the policy is so broad, I don't even know what the hell that is. So it puts me in a position where I'm trying to guess, and then it's like I'm censoring myself. So I don't know. I mean, I think what I'm looking at is possibly pulling my reloading stuff off and putting that solely on Gunstreamer and TRN, driving everybody to TRN. Like, if you want to see all my videos, I'll just say to you guys this: if you want to see all my videos, just go to the Reloaders Network and watch them there, because they're all going to be there.
Yeah, and I get it. It's annoying for folks that are in the habit and practice of checking YouTube. And YouTube's a highly polished platform. They put billions of dollars into it. I get it that having to go somewhere else is annoying. Now, I'm not putting this thought process to anybody else, but as I look at my channel, YouTube updated the policies, and there's certain content they say is not allowed. And I think the stuff that I took off of their platform is stuff that probably meets their definition of not allowed. That's why I said, forget it. I'm not going to put my full-length content on YouTube anymore. But I'm going to keep leaving breadcrumbs there as long as I can to say, hey, if this is the type of content you're interested in, here's where you can go find it. And there's folks for various reasons that don't like that, and I get it. But I'm just playing the hand that I'm dealt.
Yeah.
Then you got dinged on one of your teaser videos, though, didn't you?
All 4 that have been deleted were teaser videos.
Kyle, you wolfed that down that fast? You eat like you're in the Army. Nobody's going to take it from you, brother.
Don't be the last one in line at chow.
Yeah.
As soon as you sit down, let's go.
I think a lot of what YouTube's trying to do as well is not just delete the content. They're trying to break your will where you don't want to put that content there anymore. Then you quit YouTube. Then, hey, they didn't kick you off. You quit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
a question for you, because you seem to know the most about it, about everybody on the panel, probably everybody in the side chat too. If you upload a video to YouTube, to get the URL to share on other platforms, I've got a video that I'm fixing to share on both on Gunstreamer and the Reloaders Network, because everything that I do on YouTube automatically goes to Gunstreamer. If you keep that video private, can they delete it?
The chances are far less likely. And there's only one example that I know of. It was one of the large channels about 1.5 years ago. It was a private video. I'm trying to remember who that was. It might have been Hank Strange. It was one of the channels that were, known across all YouTube kingdom, gun kingdom. But they deleted one of his private videos and gave him a channel strike. I mean, that's the only one I've ever heard of. Now, if you have it unlisted, I think your chances go up because people can find that. But I think private and unlisted both is a lot less chance than a regular public video.
So it's best to leave reloading videos unlisted, period. That way they'll still upload in other places, right?
I still, just because it's faster. There's some services. BitChute's one. I'd upload video directly. But Gunstreamer and YouTube, I have found it faster to upload to YouTube, mark it as unlisted, hit the import button, and a few minutes later put it back to private.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I definitely was thinking that too.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. When you say hit the import button, what are you talking about?
On Gunstreamer and on YouTube, when you go to your account there's a little import from YouTube button, and you can just put in the URL from YouTube, and it'll pull in individual videos. Gunstreamer now will also they've got a feature where they'll just automatically import your entire YouTube channel.
That's
BitChute will do that as well.
Up and it said any new videos will automatically upload. Is that okay? Click here. Yes. So I'm done there. So will it upload a private video? If it's private on YouTube, will it upload somewhere else?
If it's unlisted, you can force it to. If it's public, you can set it up automatic at Gunstreamer. Gunstreamer. And if it's private, nobody can see it except for you and the monkeys at YouTube, or I don't know.
So you'll still have to manually copy the URL and paste it.
For unlisted videos, yes.
Okay. Well, I guess if you leave it public for just a second,
Mm-hmm.
long enough for it to upload, then I guess
you've probably got to give it a few minutes in order for it to pull the entire video over if you're waiting on them to do the input process.
I have YouTube on my phone and Gunstreamer over here on the iPad, and as soon as it showed it, I just set it back then. That way it's only up for a couple of minutes, right?
We could talk about that stuff all night, and I'm happy to, but you're probably boring the snot out of anybody that's not a YouTube content creator.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, I was figuring we'd bounce here, but I would give us some time to talk about it because I mean it is important. It's important to us. It's important to our viewers that are interested in finding where we're at and promoting, the Reloaders Network and kind of getting some more time out there for people to know what's going on. It's important for at least for me.
Well, and the thought back in April when we built the website, the Reloaders Network website, was that at that time people were running to 17 different sites.
Yeah,
and they're still looking around at different sites. And the thought was, myself as a content viewer, I can tell you right now, I'm subscribed to over 200 YouTube channels. I'm not going to go to 17 different sites to watch 200 different content creators. That's just the reality of it, of life. If there are 17 different sites, I'll probably go to one or two and have fond memories of everyone else.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I'm the same boat. Like I'm just not gonna have time to do it.
And that's where the Reloaders Network, throwing that together, was, the content creators can go wherever they want as far as hosting, but then all of that content's funneled to one place for the viewers to go to. The comments are there. If the video, we've seen some sites shut down. So if your video source, your YouTube video is deleted, or you had it at GunTube and GunTube shuts down, you can just change the source and the viewer can still see the video now that it's sourced from Gunstreamer or YouTube or wherever.
Yeah, that has been an issue, is having sites shut down, and how that screws with everybody while they're trying to figure out where they're going. So anyway, let's go on to some of our powder selection topics. I mainly reload handgun ammunition anymore. I don't do as much rifle. I'm wanting to get back into it, but I know that I have kind of a certain methodology for choosing. It's actually different from handgun to rifle, depending on what I'm going to do application wise. But Bacon, when you're kind of starting off, let's say, because you and I tend to have a lot of the same interests, like, big bore caliber revolvers and shit like that. What's kind of like your first criteria for choosing a powder to do load development with?
I've only ever used very few powders. Starting off in life, I didn't know what this reloading thing was all about, but I knew I wanted to get into it. So I picked up an RCBS reloading kit. It came with a press and a book and a bunch of accessories. And I knew I was going to reload 38 Special, 357 Magnum, 243 and 30-06. And so I looked in the book and I said, all right, how few powders can I buy that will support that they actually have on the shelf? So I found a powder that worked for 243 and 30-06. It was IMR 4350.
Yep.
And then I ended up with a pound of Unique.
Yep.
A pound of 2400 and a pound of H110.
Well, you got all of them covered right there, don't you?
I've expanded my powder selection a little bit since then, but that was over 15 years ago, and it hasn't expanded a whole lot more. So I guess really it was based on what is the book list is something that works, and then is it on the shelf?
Yeah, I would recommend adding 3031 to that list for different rifles, And if you're shooting like Milsurp stuff, 4064 is not too bad either. But I'm with you, man. I tend to work with powders that I have familiarity with. Now I've gotten more. I'm not going to say down the PC Bullet Empire hole, but I have bought powders basically just to experiment with. You know, I bought like CFE pistol and stuff like that. I have no need for it. I found unique loads with so many different things. And then if I'm going to shoot, you know, a hand cannon, I got number 9, 2400, you know. So I'm with you. A lot of it started with economics. Like, you know, if I buy 4 powders and I can load everything with it, then I'm saving money, and I can keep my footprint small. So that
the
makes
only
sense.
thing I've ever bought in 8-pound jugs is Unique and 2400.
Yeah, I love me some Trail Boss too, but yeah, there's.
I just picked up my first can of Trail Boss just a few days ago.
That's some great stuff, man. If I was going to be like limited to 2 powders, it would of course be Unique and 4350. IMR or H, I don't really care because I consider them to be damn near the same powder. So anymore than it used to be. Don't run off with that, people. But yeah, so that's my take on it. So I'm with you on that. It's what you have on hand sometimes more so than necessarily what might make the best load. What about you, Jamie? What do you start with?
When I started, I did pretty much the exact same thing as Bacon described. I got in the manual and started studying, and I knew what I was wanting to load. I was wanting to load 35 Remington, 30-30, 30-06, and 270. And I was looking for the powder that was in most, if not all, of those calibers in the book. And the first powder I bought was IMR 4064, and I still use that to this day for a 30-06. It's my best load. And I'm getting ready to, well, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing some brass prep for 30-06. And I'm going to start working up some 4895 loads in the 30-06 for hunting next year. But one thing I would like to pay attention to is in some books you'll have a bold entry in the data, and they say that the ones in bold, particularly the Lyman 50th, the load in bold is potentially the most accurate. And you got to decide if you're going to go for the most accurate or for the most velocity. And there's a guy I watch on Tuesday nights. One of his things is that you can't miss it fast enough to make it more accurate.
Well, there was that guy that shot, I don't remember what the hell it was, but he shot over top of the deer and killed it. Did you see that video?
It was a 50 BMG.
Yeah. So you can shoot it fast enough to make up for not being accurate.
I was elk hunting with a buddy of mine, and we went either sides of this hill, and I heard a couple shots, and I thought, woohoo, it's on. And went over, and he was shooting an 8mm, 2 or 3 shots. And we ate meat that night. It was a rabbit. And when I saw that it was a rabbit, when I first was approaching, I saw this big white thing on the ground. I thought, well, he just shot a whitetail. It was just the rabbit. And I thought, well, 8mm, there's not going to be anything left. He never hit the thing.
Scared it to death. Yeah.
There's a fine line between skill and luck sometimes.
Yeah, I was when I was a kid. That happened to me a couple of times. We had a lot of rabbits and some of the fields that I worked in and stuff. And that happened where you step on one or step real close to it and it has a heart attack and dies. They're a flighty little creature. But that's crazy, man. I can't imagine shooting a damn rabbit with an 8mm. That's hilarious.
Bacon, was that an 8mm Mauser or a Remington Magnum?
I think it was a Mauser, but I can't swear to that.
Yeah, still with a Mauser. I mean, good grief. That should make bunny confetti.
To the rabbit, it doesn't matter, does it? He's still just as dead.
Well, we grabbed some antlers, held him up by the ears, took a couple jackalope pictures, and then we ate him.
Man, that's terrible. So you scared him to death. then embarrassed him and then ate him. I'm like, that guy had a bad day.
Well, 2 days later, I shot a forest grouse with my 357 Magnum. I aimed high. He was under this tree. I aimed high and just took his head clean off. He was good eating too.
Well, it's interesting when I'm doing load development, whether it's rifle or pistol. One of the things I look at, and one of my determining factors is my utilization and my bullet, right? So if I'm wanting to shoot, when I did my Henry series, when I'm wanting to shoot 45 Colt, and I'm wanting to hunt with it, so now I'm looking for an expanding bullet because I'm going to shoot. My distance is about 100-ish yards. So then I got to look for a speed that's going to be adequate with a 45 Colt at 100 yards with an expanding bullet that's not going to fragment. And then I start finding speeds, and I start finding it's hard to find this, and you cannot Satterly buy a load manual, but you can see sometimes where there's a flat spot where with a powder. It's like, okay, it's come up to pressure, and it looks like, these 3 different loads are relatively flat. That might be a good spot to go. And so I'll load develop like that. I'll start off with my intention, purpose, my bullet, and then trying to find that. Now, I'm not a big speed guy. I know some people go to whatever is the fastest out there. So they'll go look at their manual, and then whatever powder provides them the fastest bullet. I tend not to do that. I tend to look into a little bit more detail than that as far as case capacity, things like that, and then my working relationship with that bullet or with that powder, and then the difference between the min and the max charge, right? So if I'm dealing with something that's a really fine line type powder, sometimes I'll just ignore it because it's just not worth having a possible incident.
H110 normally has a real small window, but that's a lot of times it doesn't really like a light load. So
yeah, H110 is not one that you download. You got to load it up. Well, you know what 110 gets me, and right now 110 is not a big one for this. But one of the things that I'm not liking is this whole Hornady Levolution crap where they're shortening cases. That's driving me nuts. Like I've run across that several different times with different calibers because of that crazy bullet. They have shortened the case length way below what Sammy specs. And if you go and try to load that with something else, it's going to come out real odd. And then if you try to load it right to where it looks right, then you're greatly decreasing case capacity.
That one's always annoyed me, and it finally bit me recently. The video I had that was my entry for the Taco Apocalypse, where I cast the bullets over the fire and then I greased them with bacon grease. One of those bullets was loaded in a Hornady case, and I almost everything I have in 44 mag is Starline. I don't know how that one slipped in there, but that bullet jumped the crimp. That's the first bullet I've ever had do that, and it bound up my cylinder.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's just don't screw with stuff that's standardized. But yeah, that's kind of how I choose my powder. Crazy Scotsman, we'll get back to this in a sec, but he says Big Al had a question about the Reloaders Network and wants to know what is in the future for the site, Bacon. So if you want to talk about that, then we can go back to the panel for reloading stuff.
Sure. So I made actually, I think it was last night, I made a couple changes, a couple tweaks to the menu. If you go in the menu under posts, it's always been, you can look at all the posts, or you look at it by category. You can now, in that menu, you can sort the post by author as well. I'm about to put out some instructions on how to build custom notifications. So if you want to email or a pop-up on your phone or whatever it is, you can customize that, based on specific authors or specific topics or specific categories. That should be out soon. I just yesterday figured out how to put a different homepage on the front of the site, whether or not you're logged in or not. So if you're logged in, you'll see a different homepage than if you're not logged in. And it's pretty basic, but it clears out a bunch of the stuff that probably nobody cares about.
I I probably shouldn't say this on the air, but I'm interested in the series or the playlist thing that you sent out the message about yesterday. I'm gonna be checking with you about that.
So and that is another thing. I've got that working, but I need to finish putting some thoughts and instructions into coherent words for the authors on how to build playlists or series where people can click on it and look at it and pull up all the videos in that series. If you
really cool.
If you want to see an example of that right now, I've started playing with it. If you look at my author page, every author has an about page that it's kind of like that about page on YouTube where you can put whatever you want. You can describe what your kid's favorite color is, whatever. If you look at mine, in the middle of it, you'll see something about series and playlists, and there's 2 of them on there right now. You can get a little preview of what that might look like.
I want all.
What's that, Jamie?
I was just going to say I want all my 35 Remington in one playlist.
Yep, and that one will be the playlist thing will be very quick and very easy to set up.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I mean, like some people, like for me, for instance, I do everything damn near by series. Like,
right.
So that'll make it really easy so people can follow along. Like, you start on number 1 and you can just kind of follow through that. That'll be a big change, I think, to way maybe I interact with the site. That's cool, man.
I think the fact that, right now there is no subscribe feature per se. There's no thing where I can go to the reloading press on there, hit a little button, and now when I look at the post feed, I only see the post from the people I subscribe to. And if you only care about 20% of what's on the site, then the other 80% of the notifications you get are probably really annoying. And so that's why right now I don't have the subscription thing all figured out and implemented, but we are about to fix where you can customize your notifications of new posts.
Yeah, I haven't had too much trouble. I actually have. It's funny. I have more of a trouble with that with YouTube than I do than the Reloaders Network. When I bring up my computer, it gives me a tab saying that there's all this crap going on but it's just one tab. I don't know why it shows up different. But YouTube, and I love everybody that comments and everything else that interacts with me on YouTube, but it takes up the whole side of my screen as soon as I fire my computer up, and it's just like I got to go close all these windows. I don't know why it does that. So, but I think that's just depends on what operating system you are and everything else.
Something I haven't committed to, but I've been asking a couple guys their thoughts. Right now, the Reloaders Network is there's a targeted set of content. But there's discussion of possibly having a very related but separate site where the Reloaders Network authors can post all of the other content. You can put, all the religious stuff you want, all the political stuff you want. You can put hey, here's what my dog bought me for Christmas. All of that kind of, almost a blog for the Reloaders Network authors. So that's something haven't committed to, but I'm looking at right now as well.
Yeah, I know we had talked about that a long time ago.
Yeah, when I built the site, set that up, just never did anything with it because there wasn't really a demand signal for it. But we may see that soon, depending on if folks really want it.
And they'll use it, yeah. So, Chico, let me ask you a question, brother. When you were starting off with 9mm, what made you choose the components that you chose, and do you think that there's a better way maybe than what you originally did, and now because you're doing it a certain way, you're kind of stuck in that groove?
Great question. So I'll tell you, you guys know I'm a new reloader. So how I came about choosing my powders was asking guys. You guys know from being on these live chats before I was even part of the panel, I was asking questions, and other guys, and I was kind of asking the same questions all the time because I knew I was going to do 9mm. And I was like, you know what? I'm going over to this chat and ask them. And if everybody answer coincides kind of together, that's what I'm choosing. But you guys know I'm a deal seeker. So if I can find a deal on something, I mean, that's just, but just like bacon, said, and like Jamie said, I'm looking at availability. What's available in the stores that I shop at, and I wasn't trying to purchase stuff online to pay the hazmat fees. That's pretty much my experience on it. I haven't tried many powders. The very first powder I bought was CFE pistol because people was talking about it. It was fairly new, sort of, maybe not. But I tried that first, and that was the first thing I ever loaded. And the tolerances seemed more spread out compared to when I bought Tight Group, because I was real shaky about trying Tight Group because the tolerance was so small. I think the margin of error. So I bought Tight Group, HP 38, and CFE pistol because that would handle my 45 ACP and 9mm, and that's pretty much all I load at this moment.
So yours was more economically driven and or availability and deals type thing than necessarily accuracy or any load development type ideas.
Correct. Yeah, because I really had no clue about load development. And, I did look in my manuals. I've had my manuals probably almost at least a year before I even bought my press. So I was going through it, looking at stuff. Okay, this load is in here for this 115 grain bullet. It's also in here for this 124 grain bullet. So I was kind of looking at that powder. If it was a powder in there for a lot of different bullets, I was trying to lean towards that. That's why, I was asking questions, and I was like, I hope these guys don't get mad at me. But everyone, Reloaders Network, guys who have channels and stuff they were real helpful, man, and I definitely appreciated it. That's why I wanted to be a part of all of this.
I've heard a lot of good things about HP 38 and Tight Group both. I've never used either, but I've heard a number of people recommend those. I've always wondered about CFE pistol because what CFE is copper fouling eliminator or something along those lines.
Correct.
Exactly.
And it seems wrong to use that with a cast bullet, which is most of what I do in handgun now.
I've used both of those powders a good bit, and what I've found out with the stuff that I reload is Tight Group is going to give you better accuracy, but CFE pistol is going to give you more velocity. It's going to be a little stronger. And then when you go back to what I was saying earlier, you can't miss it fast enough to kill it. But we know that, so we've already established that's not necessarily true. So, Kyle, how do you decide what you're going to use, bud?
All right. When I first started, excuse me, when I first started, you couldn't find powder anywhere. And I went to a gun show, and they had Accurate number 7. And I was going to load for 45, 9mm, just starting out, want to start small and what I shoot the most of. And so I'm over in the corner of the gun show, and I'm on my phone. I'm like, yeah, okay. Wasn't even looking at cast bullets yet. And all I could find was an 8-pound jug of it, so I bought it. I'm like, man, I hope this works. So I got it home and actually tried a couple of different loads, went to the range, and it works great. Then more and more powders started becoming available. I said, well, I want to start loading from a 30-06. And so I did a little bit of research, and 4895 was actually designed for the 30-06 cartridge.
It was.
And so I said, I'm going to be picky on this one. I'm going to get 4895. And I happened to be walking, I think it was up at Cherokee Gun and Palms, a local gun store here that I know me and Jamie are real familiar with. They had a 1-pound thing of 4895. So I bought it, did a little research, started playing with some bullets, and took it out to the shooting property with 3 boxes of test loads and 3 empty notebooks and 2 ink pens. I'm like, we're gonna see what happens with this. And I ended up settling on a load and pulling a bunch of bullets, because at 250 yards, if they weren't all touching, they were all in the same hole. And I was like, okay, this works for that. And then it was time to start reloading for 308. and I knew 48.95 was for my 30-06. So I wanted to save that because they only had 1 pound, and I bought it. And through asking other reloaders and stuff, this is before YouTube came into my life. Asking other people that I knew that reloaded, they said try 4064. I've had real good luck with it. It's a very versatile powder. You can use it in dang near anything but a 380. And since I wasn't reloading 380 at the time, that was perfect for me. So then we started getting into, well, everything's becoming more available. Let's start. I'm on the Chico side now. Let's start looking for deals and stuff. So I ended up finding an 8-pound tub of 4064 after I found out my 308 load, and also used it in my 270. It works really well in 270. So I ended up finding and getting an 8-pound tub of 4064, and then I stumbled across actually a friend of mine that worked at I don't know, I guess you'd call it a survival store that started selling guns. He sent me a picture of a jug of Ram Shop Silhouette. I still have not opened that, and I've had that for 4 years. But I found a good deal on Power CFE pistol, and I bought a 4-pound jug of it. I've long since burned through it. I like that powder. Power pistol was another one, Alliant Power pistol. That was a really good powder. That was great for 9mm. I didn't like it so much in the bigger bores, 44s and stuff like that. I don't shoot 357 or 38 special. It was pretty much see what you can find and see what the best deal is. Go that route. That's what it's turned into. Well, that's what the middle. At the beginning, it was see what you can find and work with it. Then in the middle of my reloading career, it was see what you can find and the best price on it and work with that. Now I've already got my loads, and that's it. That's what I'm using. So, and I've decided to stick with Tight Group on every single pistol that I load, except for 44 Magnum. I'm still playing with Silhouette or Unique, Trail Boss, because my 44 Magnum spectrum of bullets goes from one end of the scale to the other, and even on the other side of it. So there is no published load data for some of the molds that I've got. It's just playing with it and finding what works. And sometimes Tight Group or Trail Boss works, sometimes Unique works, and a lot of times this Shooter's World heavy pistol. We were really surprised with this when me and Jamie went to the range.
Vanessa Kitty just recently asked best powder for 44 mag and what grain bullet and type of bullet. It's interesting you brought that up. If I was only going to have one bullet for a 44 mag, it'd be the Lyman 429 421, the Keats 250 grain Keats semi wad cutter.
Yeah, absolutely. And then 2400 to back it up. I mean, it's just,
put 2400 or H110.
Yeah,
I've never done either one of those. Yeah,
You
like
can
it-
play with 2400 a little more as far as drum loading it.
2400. I'll tell you something that's interesting about 2400 for me for load development. 2400 is one of those powders that showed me that general rules don't always apply. I always believed, maybe it was due to issues with leading early on when I first started loading, is that the more I can push a bullet, the better. Meaning that a fast powder hits the bullet, knocks it out. It's more of a violent action, and it can lead to bullet deformation and gas cutting and things like that. So the slower the powder I can get, the better. And then I have barrel length to issue, right? So like unburned powder, it leads to inaccuracy because there's going to be a certain amount of unburned powder that's going to be inconsistent. It's not always going to be the same. So, if I want to be able to burn all my powder consistently, pushing the bullet all the way through the barrel until it reaches a certain point in the barrel, and then you can let the bullet actually freeboard. Like it doesn't have to accelerate necessarily that last inch. It can stabilize and then exit the barrel. That way you don't push the base of the bullet if you have a slight muzzle thing. This is like all this crap went into my load development stuff for years. And then I started reloading with 2400. It's spitting powder out out of the barrel and it just shoots great. And I'm like, this doesn't, no matter how scientific I think I've gotten with reloading at times, sometimes it just doesn't matter. Like a great example of that is 42-27. Like I've had 42-27 rolling out the end of my barrel, and it'd be the most accurate thing I've got. It doesn't make any sense at all. But I used to get super, super into the scientific side of that, like how much, like at what point, checking my speeds and all that, and then shooting chronos, of course, that comes later. But so there is a lot of different ways to do load development and picking powders. I think it can get really hairy, or you can go with a pet load method, which is what I've actually started to return a little bit to. One thing I would say, we got a couple more minutes here. Mig says he's going to go on break in I think about 5 minutes. And as soon as he comes across the side chat that he's on break, I'm going to open up this box for him. So, anybody got anything to interject there?
I got to tell you that's a very interesting way. I've never heard it explained quite that way, as far as pushing the bullet down the bore instead of just hitting it with a hammer, Uncle Jim. You want it. There's Johnny's reloading bench. Hey, man, thanks for coming. Ozark got a new rifle. I think it was a 22-250. Anyway, I bought my first pound of H110, and so far, as far as full-on 357 Magnum, full power 357 Magnum, I think that Shooter's World Heavy pistol has worked better than anything I've tried so far. But I've been very limited with the powders I've used for it. And Kyle really liked it in the 44 Magnum, I think. And, well, the 42-27 worked pretty good in the 357 Magnum also.
Tell you something that doesn't look like it works. I don't know if you saw that, where Ozark said he had a buddy that dropped the 300 blackout into his 5.56.
Scary.
Mark your stuff, guys. That's blow your face off material.
Yeah.
I think we should start the rumor the Preacher's Day Out just bought a new 30-06.
I think he needs one. I cannot understand a gun collection without a 30-06. That just doesn't seem like an American way to go about doing something.
When we were out hog hunting, he tried to break mine.
I'm sure out of jealousy, right? Out of jealousy and envy. He's just like, this can't work.
Hey, Preacher would never be covetous.
Yeah. So that's interesting, Jamie, about the Shooter's World. I mean, when it comes to full house 357, I go to H110. I don't know quite why. I'm sure there's other powders, and it sounds like that might be one of them.
I've just got the H110. Let's see, I haven't tried it yet. I've tried 42-27, the tight group, the CFE pistol, but those are powders more for semi-autos than full power 357 Magnums. And
now, in the loads of bacon reloading press realm of life, I have shot full load unique loads, and they work great. But I still, if I'm going to go full house, I tend to go to 110. But I'll load a unique in any damn thing, I think.
I will try unique in just about anything, and you can push a 44 pretty fast with a unique. You aren't going to get your fastest load with unique without damaging your firearm, but you can get a pretty powerful load with it.
Yep, absolutely. I appreciate that, though, Jamie, about that push in the bullet metaphor. I mean, some of this goes back. I mean, I was fortunate, and I got lucky, and my dad had some old reloading books, some old NRA stuff, some old reloading manuals. And I got to read a lot of that. And one of the things guys talk about a lot is barrel harmonics. And barrel harmonics are great, but you can't affect it. I mean, you can if you go the JRB method of hanging stuff off the end of the barrel.
Or in the middle of the barrel.
Or in the middle of the barrel. A band on a barrel or a stock or whatever is going to have an effect. But the fact is you can't actually change the effect how you want it. It just does something and you hope it works.
Yeah, that was a very interesting set of videos he did. And I think the main thing I got out of that was if you want to start playing with harmonics, it's trial and terror on each particular firearm and each particular load.
Well, what I got out of it was never to buy a precision rifle that doesn't have a threaded barrel. because you can work up a load and you can fine tune with a muzzle device, and that could be huge. Yeah, it's funny, man, because I mean, I got into the barrel length issue, and because especially like a cast bullet, the bases aren't perfect in them. So if you're burning, still building pressure as that bullet is escaping, you have a good chance to get that bullet off kilter coming out of the muzzle of the barrel, regardless of what the harmonics of the barrel are doing, because the base of the bullet isn't absolutely square and true. I think that's why a lot of people go to using gas checks on cast bullets pretty quickly. I still think that you can, get around that, but you have to have max pressure before the exit of the bullet. There's a lot to it, man. It is complicated, but I think it's interesting to hear from you guys that a lot of the way that you start your reloading is based off just what you have on hand and then what you have experience with, and sometimes monetary reasonings for sure. It's almost like your stable is the powder, not everything else. You'll load around the powders, versus changing the powder around other components, which is
right.
It's not what I expected.
One plus for me, or one way I chose the powder too. If I bought this Shooter World powder from a gun show down here, but any powder that has the if they have load data online, I'm all for it. Even though I have load manuals, but one thing with Hodgin powders, you can go online and use their load data, which is quicker. But I also have 4 load manuals, for different brands. So if they supply the load data online, I'm kind of for that also.
Now I typically go to my bullet manufacturer first. For my load data, like to get my first idea, right?
Right.
And then I'll go to powder manufacturers, and last but least, I'll go to equipment manufacturers, and that's usually just a double check,
triple check,
right? Like if you're trying to load like a 120 grain bullet into a 32 mag, good luck. You're not going to find load data. Actually, there's a first edition Lyman has load data for it. Because it's a 3220 bullet. Never mind. Sorry, you guys don't need to know that. But it is interesting, man, because like I expected the opposite. See, I expect, like, for me, my standards are like I use clip-on wheel weights. I don't change that. Now it's getting ready to change. I'm going to start using range strap and with some kind of hardener in it, because that's all that Kathy can get, and I need lead. So, but my staples are kind of like, that's my bullet. This is my use, and I'll change my powder to whatever. Within some reason, like I'm not screwing around with Vitabori and Norma powders and crap like that because I've never messed with it. But I'll change my powder to try to match what I'm doing before I'll change any of the other components around. That's interesting. I did not expect that.
So is it time for your unboxing,
I think it is, but I haven't seen Mig kind of bounce in that he's on break. I'm kind of trying to wait for him because I'm telling you guys, I don't know how much. I'll talk a little bit about him before he gets on. I don't know how much you guys know about measuring grains. He doesn't put out a lot of content, and what he does isn't necessarily always reloading or even gun oriented. Some of it's like survival stuff and hunting things and different stuff. Mig is just one heck of a nice guy. When I first started getting into making videos, he reached out to me and helped me out, sent me some stuff. And we kind of grew into, a bit of a relationship and knowing each other. And I mean, he sent me built me the case feeder for my Hornady, and he sent me some different stuff for possibly lubing bullets, and just he's always been just such a supporter, such a nice guy. I don't know how to thank him right, because I have no idea how you thank somebody for being just that giving and that interested in what you're doing. But if you haven't looked at Mig's channel, do that.
I first came across Mig on through several mentions from the Reloader dude, and his name stuck with me. He's got one of the coolest names on YouTube, so the name stuck real quick.
Quit talking about him like he's not here. He's here.
He just popped in. Absolutely, yeah. So, hey, man, are you on break? Can I open this thing? What's up? Not yet.
Not yet.
All right. I'll hold off. Man, this is much heavier than what it's supposed to be. So I'm really interested. Anticipation is killing me.
I'm hoping it's a glitter bomb.
Oh, it's chunky, so I don't think it is, but it could be.
He said boat anchor.
All right, so yes, sir, have at it. So I got a box here. It's one of the square ones. My post office never carries these. I don't know why, because they're so much more useful than the
You
envelope.
can order those from the UPS, and they'll ship them to your house for free.
I didn't know that they would ship them to the house for free. I'll do that.
Yeah, there's a number of boxes you can just have shipped to your house for no cost.
All right. Shop towels. This is super important. I go through these a ton. All right. All right. So I don't know if you guys have seen these before, but they're made with this 3D printer, and they got his logo on them. And I've got one of them, and I was moving it from one spot to the other for shooting videos. And he's like, "I saw a frame in there with my logo. I'm gonna have to send you some more." So we started joking, and he's got me two of the bigger ones here. And then there's a ton of little ones. I don't know if you can see that. That's pretty awesome, Meg.
What was it we had when we were teenagers? Was it Pogs? Was it?
Yeah, they're sort of like plastic Pogs. Some of them are blue and gray. That's awesome, man. Oh wow,
That's
there's
cool.
something kind of bigger in here than what I expected. Holy! Oh, dude, that is awesome. So it's my emblem, and like I said, that's pretty good size, man. That's really bad.
That's not Pog. That's disc golf.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
Got some
That's all
swag
done.
going on.
That's all done with his 3D printer. He's got these little ones, man, with it like all kinds of different colors with his emblem. I'm gonna have these things everywhere. That's awesome, dude. All right. What else we got in here? So Meg is just great for. Oh, bacon! I don't know if you've got this one, man.
Woo!
That is sweet, but when you first pulled it out, we just saw the back. I thought you had an Etch a Sketch.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That is really freaking awesome, dude. That is. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to find a way to hang it on the wall or something, dude. That is really amazing, Meg. Thank you very much. That is wild, man. I know I saw some of the stuff that you were printing, and I didn't get an idea of scale. I guess.
You make a Flava Flav necklace out of that.
Yeah, no shit. Just hang that around my neck. There you go. Here's another one of the ones with my emblem that's with the white background. That's really awesome, dude. Actually, I don't know. It's funny, man. I'm looking at it. I'm actually kind of liking the white because we talked about which one we thought looked better, and I couldn't make up my damn mind whether the gray one looked better or the white one. All right, and then there's like a whole box of those little dogs. Dude, there's a million of these things in here. I'm not kidding. I have no idea exactly what I'm
It is a
doing.
glitter bomb. It's just really big pieces of glitter.
Yeah, there's another one of these, and these are for your bench. These are really cool. You can slide them on your bench, and then your rifle can sit in between them. So it's kind of like a that way it doesn't fall one side or the other. These are really cool. He sent me a couple of these for and awesome. That's a like a powder funnel. That's really cool, Meg. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. And one in blue. Woohoo. That's crazy. And one in black. Dude, you went crazy with your 3D printer. Like, I don't know if I can show you this, but like this is full of those little discs with his emblem on them. That's great. Dude, it's like a little glitter bomb full of like little MIGs. That is amazing. When I first saw MIG's logo, this is a year ago, I was like super envious, man. I was just like, how did you do that? It's so awesome. And it was kind of like the motivation for me to actually make an emblem and get involved in like a logo, and it's part of the reason why we changed my channel. All that was kind of brought about by Mig, and dude, that's just amazing. This one with the Reloaders Network, I don't even know what to say. That's really freaking cool. And then ones with my emblem, I don't know what to say. Thank you very much, Mig. I appreciate it. That is really awesome. I'm not watching side chat, guys, so I hate to say if I'm missing anybody kind of talking or asking questions, but dude, that's man, that's off the chain. Thank you very much.
That's very nice.
Mig is a hell of a nice guy. Also,
Something about this community. You know that that Reloaders Network symbol is the bulk of the work designing that was a Mooser and Eagle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Kenny was in on it. We were all talking about what to do, and then Rob and Kenny kind of just broke off and just started working on that, and it came out great. All the angles, exactly. Uncle Jim giving me crap about Nathan liking angles. Yep, that's absolutely it. And all the angles have to have a little Mig in them now. Oh, man, that's awesome, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, they're midgets. So, all the angles covered. I'm going to go back and read through these a little bit. And while I'm doing that, you know what? Actually, I'll call out the chat here again. We're at, holy crap, 44 viewers. So, Insight Freedom, Uncle Jim, Kyle Lusk, of course, who's in the panel. Disposable 762, thanks for coming out. James Pollard. Measure in Grains. Guys, if you haven't checked out his channel, please do so. Click over there and check out his channel and subscribe. I'm sure, man, it was fun to print all those, but it looks like a lot of work. Preacher's Day Off, thanks for coming. I know your 30-06 envy is strong. Joe Lead Slinger, thanks for coming. Tin Man. Tin Man, I just watched a video with Tin Man the other day. I've got a decent little camera. I've tried my phone. I've tried different stuff, and it always, to me, looks a little cloudy, and the color isn't right. And I watched this video by Tin Man who's doing it on his phone, and it's the clearest, nicest video I've ever seen in my life. The Samsung S9, I think is what he said it was. That thing must be, like, amazing. William C. Chapin, thanks for coming out. Ocean 374. Johnny's Reloading Bench, thanks for coming out, brother. I appreciate it. You said that he's been doing the 6 PPC, and I've actually been going back and watching your Grendel videos. I'm always watching videos from like a year ago and 6 months ago. It's like I'm always behind on your channel. Uncle Jim, of course. Vanessa Kitty, I'm probably already said that. Crazy Scotsman, thanks for coming out. Phil Rivers, I appreciate it. PC Bullet Empire, Tim, you are the man, and not in that negative, like, holding us down way. Ozark Spirit, this was this week. I think I said about last week. So this week I took the Ozark Spirit rub, put it on. I cut some chicken breasts and just covered them in that, and then split them into chicken tenders and just air fried them. Good God, man, these things are delicious. Thank you very much. Who else we got here? And SKS Hugo, HRM Weapons Machinist, Cranky Cletus, of course. And Joe, I think I already said Joe Leadsinger to Idaho. Guys, I appreciate everybody coming out. It's ridiculous. AR Precision, I appreciate it. To me, it's amazing who all wants to come in and say hi. I appreciate it every week, of course. I really appreciate Loads of Bacon coming on. We're not signing off. I'm just telling you guys that thank you. I'm Mr. Appreciative. I just opened up an awesome gift, so I'm gushing right now. So somebody save me. What do you got, Jamie?
I'm done, man. I'm sorry, man. Mig does great work. When I saw your video about the bullet loader, I was shocked. I was, what's the word? Amazed, I guess. It just kept coming out of the box. It just kept on and kept on. And then you finally got it up and got it loaded. So got it working. And that was a pretty cool video. I know he worked hard on that. And he's been on a couple of times with us on the Reloaders Network chat, hadn't he, Bacon?
Mm-hmm. I've seen him on Hat Chats. I think I saw him on a TRM, one of the ones that was later. Mig usually works pretty late. He does kind of like an overtime thing, I think.
He's one of the authors of the Reloaders Network too, but it's been a while since we've seen anything from him.
Yeah.
He's been apparently making a ton of pogs for Nathan.
Yeah, he's been busy. Him and his 3D printer have been at it.
I'd hate to see his power bill.
Man, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's a printing life, man. goes along with the CV Life. I saw that James Pollard put out another CV Life scope video. I'm gonna have to get one for. Oh yeah, and by the way, I got it done. So I now actually have an operating AR finally after all these years in 450 Bushmaster. This thing is gonna be fun.
Look what Chico did with your logo, man.
What'd Chico do? Where? Chico, what you doing?
I'm trying to see.
He's advertising for you, man.
Chico is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it. I must have missed something.
Am I just hallucinating?
I don't know, man. It was weird because Bacon was sending us messages and I wasn't seeing them. Oh yeah, and Loaded Cap Gun wanted me to tell you guys that the upper is actually Davison does this thing where they name their uppers, which is kind of cool. I don't know why it's kind of cool. Kind of I don't know, sort of the same reason why I put stickers on things, I guess. But it's called Godzilla, which I just love that. And then I had the green, stock and stuff. So it's like, yeah, it is like Godzilla, man. Yeah,
Now is that the Matthew Broderick Godzilla?
I see. Now, here's the thing. You don't say that too loud around here. She might freak out. But I don't mind that movie. Like, other people that are Godzilla fans hate that movie. I'm like, nah, it's not too bad. Like, Hank Azaria is great. I can actually hear her lamenting you even bringing it up.
Gojira.
Yeah, Gojira. All right, load development. It's like, it reminds me of freaking Mel Brooks. Powder choice. What are we on here? What you got? No, yeah, okay. No, 1996 Godzilla. So, have you guys? Here's one. Hey, has anybody actually messed around with changing primers to see if it had an effect on accuracy?
Johnny's reloading bench did.
Oh, I'm sure he has. Because Jeremy kind of knocks it all out of the park with his reloading development. I think he does a heck of a lot better of the job than I do, for sure.
Primers is not something I've ever messed with. I had almost every primer I've ever had has been CCI, because that was what was on the shelf of the local store during that time a few years ago where there was no powder and no primers. I ended up with a box of Winchester small pistol. Used them all up in 38 special. Life was good. Didn't notice any difference, but wasn't really looking for one either.
I'm in the same boat. I'm sorry. I'm in the same boat. Whatever's on the shelf, and I heard good things about the CCI primers. So that's what I bought or purchased, rather. I have tried the Winchester primers, but as you guys know, I cannot record it in my data at the moment. So, but I couldn't tell a difference. I think one time I loaded 10 rounds, 5 CCI primers, 5 Winchester primers, and I load them all the exact. And I couldn't tell a difference. Everything shot well, but a chrono could read different, and then everything plays into part with that. Your brass, you know what I mean? You got to keep the variables to a minimum if you want to, in my opinion, if you want to accurately determine if it's going to make a difference or not.
So how's your shooting been since your chronolitis kicked in?
Well, yeah, so and it was something like that in the side chat. I think Mr. Curtis says, what load do I use for the chronos? So that load was a Federal American Eagle, but you know what? I was curious, and I've looked it up. Most ammunition manufacturers do not publish what powder they use, because I'm under the impression it is a commercial powder that's not available to us. Are you guys under the same impression?
Well, it is available to you, but you have to go through different avenues to get it.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot. I've never been in the commercial factory. I would assume that a lot of that stuff is proprietary blends and whatnot.
Right. I was kind of thinking the same thing. It was interesting to not find a lot of information or to see people's blogs or forums about that.
Which is why if you're trying to duplicate that stuff, just because you get the same velocity that the commercial ammo is giving you, it may not be the same pressure. So,
Right.
just driving up to the same velocity may not be the right answer, because you could be using a lot faster powder that has a lot bigger pressure right there at the beginning. So you can't just go off of velocity when you're trying to duplicate, and you're not going to find in most cases what powder the factory guys started with.
There was there's an instance of this for us where Hornady, through graphs, Hornady got together and was making ammunition for 8x56R Steyr. And we pulled them apart and took a look at them, and we had a pretty damn good idea of what the powder was. And we called Hornady and we asked them. And we got a big bag of, we cannot confirm nor deny that, but you're on the right track. If you've ever had that kind of conversation with people, they're not going to tell you anything directly, but they're kind of tell you if they're close. But the thing that was amazing is, and I don't understand this, I don't think we were ever able to duplicate the actual speeds of the Hornady ammo, reloading it using the exact same components that they did. So that's where I think this whole primer thing possibly might have a wrinkle in there. I know with 45 ACP, and I know a lot of people will argue this because it's so hard to tell with handguns. I had the best accuracy I've ever had with my Kimber using Federal small pistol primers. When I went to CCI and Remington and stuff like that, there's been some degradation. I mean, not a lot. But I mean, before, where I could sit down, if I was being serious, I could sit down in Cloverleaf at 15 without really too much work. Now that's going to be opened up to, a little bit more. So I've noticed a difference, but I've never used it as a load development strategy. I don't know. Maybe it's something I made for the long range guys. I don't know. I know they do it with overall length and crimp technique and stuff like that. It would make sense that, different primers are going to ignite at a different rate.
Yeah, most of the time I want a bullet to come out of the barrel without blowing up or getting stuck, and I want it to put a hole in the target that's fairly near the previous hole. That's usually most of my criteria, and then it's fun, But I've never been a long range precision shooter. That stuff looks fun too, but I've never done it.
Nathan, were you saying you got better results out of small primer pocket 45s?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's all I use. I'd trade off 45 large pistol primers. Yep. Small pistol primer for me all the way.
I think Kenny's having better luck with the small primers in his 6.5 Creedmoors. Johnny's out there, and
yeah, it's there's some scientific crap behind that. I've read about how small pistol primers are inherently going to be more accurate if you can get a good ignition than a large pistol primer. I don't know if it's a fly in a battleship kind of thing. And when you're dealing with handguns, which, I mean, I know a lot of us shoot handguns a lot. And Kyle, you're really, as far as I know, the only one on the panel that's ever did any long range precision type. But I think there is a difference. I've seen a difference. And for me, what it was is I picked the brass that cycled in my gun well because I have a very tight chamber in my Kimber. So
we're degrading in the side chat, but they were talking about, y'all remember Johnny did a video about how hard it is to, we always hear wear our eye protection when we're reloading because a primer can go off, and Johnny had a live chat on, and
that was a hilarious live stream. In fact, I went looking for it later, and I'm pretty sure he took it down. But I remember that one well.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard about it. So what happened, Jamie?
I was shocked, man. He tried everything to get one to pop, and I think the only way he finally got one to pop was to put a punch on the back of it and hit it with a hammer.
Well, hey, no, you say that. Using my Loadmaster, there's a debris shield on it, and it says, do not permit people or anything behind this debris shield. I think they want you to use CCI primers. I was loading 9mm and was using Winchester because I was out of CCIs, and I pulled down on the hammer or on the handle, and that on the Loadmaster prime's on the upstroke, so that thing's sitting all the way up top, and the primer went off, and scared the crap out of me. I didn't know what happened. It took me a minute. I just didn't move. I'm like, okay, still got eyeballs, fingers. What just happened? But yeah, I set one off on the Loadmaster.
Yeah, I've heard about them getting set off. I think it was the Lee hand prime that had warnings not to use federal primers with it. I mean, I do anyway. I don't know.
I have never had a primer go off at the bench.
Bless me. Sorry.
But maybe that's because I use primarily CCI. But I'm not saying it can't or won't, but it has never happened to me except for when I was a kid. But that was a different scenario. I found we had some fish and game land right next to where my parents live, and I found a shotgun shell on the ground. And so I went home and I cut it open and I looked at all the shot, and that was neat. And I poured the powder out and lit it with a match and was kind of disappointed that it didn't blow up more. So then I there was just a primer left, and so I stuck that in a vise and I put a nail on it and whacked it with a hammer, and was really surprised by just how loud that primer was.
Yeah. It's funny, man, because what I think goes on, and this is just my take on it, right? And them kids don't do this at home. We're not professionals, but anyway, we're idiots. Well, not idiots, but yeah. So what I think goes on, I have run across people in my life that have been like non-mechanical, right? So let's say that they're going to reload ammunition, and they go to size a case, and they start it in there, and next thing you know, they're jumping up and down in the handle. And you're like, what the hell are you doing? And so they don't understand that if it doesn't feel right, stop. Like, stop now. Like, I mean, you and I, most of us, I imagine it's like if something doesn't feel right or if it starts to crunch, we stop. And we look at what we're doing and we're like, what? And then when I was a kid, I watched, Curtis and I were talking about this the other day. We had at our local range, in the indoor range, they had a series of Dillon machines. This is in the 90s. Billy bobbed up to run automatically or automated. Nobody attending them, and Dillon primer systems are not necessarily known to be the best ones in the world. So, I mean, I think there are pop primers, but I think it comes from people not using any kind of finesse. It's a great word my grandfather used to use, or just not paying attention to what they're doing. Like, if you're paying attention to what you're doing and you're not being ham-handed, I just don't see it happening. I mean, maybe I guess if you get a really unlucky and a piece of crap in your machine, I guess it's possible, but
well, I think the fact that I still have all 10 digits on my hands is a lot due to luck. But yeah, I've seen some weird stuff happen too. I wouldn't say it can't happen, but again, in approaching 2 decades, I've never had one go off at the bench.
Yeah, anything's possible, right? But I mean,
that's the possible one only, and it specifically says if you're not going to use CCI primers, because I guess they have a harder shell, put this on, because your powder measure sits right there. And I put it on just for the heck of it. I didn't want it laying around, so I went ahead and put it on, and I forget how many thousands of rounds I've loaded on that thing, but just in here one Saturday morning, just woke up and felt like running through a sleeve of brass, so just started cranking the handle and pow! I'm like, whoa, that was loud.
Yeah, Georgia boy says he primes with the Lee loader and the hammer and no problem so far.
Yeah, exactly.
He must be using one of them dead blow hammers.
Yeah, so I don't. Go ahead, Jamie, sir.
There you go.
Yeah, those that lead loader will tell you a lot about how, like, you know, how much finesse is actually needed, and how much reloading can be such a fine process when you're loading with a hammer. And yeah, the least favorite powders to use. All right, I'll bite on that, Chico. That's interesting, man. What least favorite powders to use? Oof. I don't like, and I know that Jamie's had good luck with it. I don't really care for the Western powders. I haven't had great luck with them. So the named, I know they're all accurate arms now, so it's kind of hard to tell. But the old Westerns, the Tax and the True Blues, and I haven't had really good luck with them. I know Jamie did. But and Vitavori and stuff like that, I don't mess with. So yeah.
I am absolutely dying to try some Vitavori, but I just can't make myself pay $45 for a pound of gunpowder.
I've got a little, Jamie, if you want to swing by the house. I've got, I think I got some 310 and some, 3NH7 or something.
And let me explain a little bit why I say that. I have this a finished M39 Mosin Nagant. It's a old mill cert. It's made in 1941, and it's and the Vitavori powders are made in Finland as well. So I think that powder would work really good in that rifle with the proper load development. And I would really like to try that. But man, when it comes to paying $45 for a pound of powder that you're just gonna burn up,
that's a lot of money.
You could always try 410 in there.
I'd rather have green dot.
The only reason that I have Voodoo powders, that's what I call them. Only reason I have them is because they were in a one of them big clear plastic totes that a friend of mine bought in an estate sale, and I've never bought it. It just happened to be in there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any like IMR powders or Hercules. No, Alliant powders I don't use or I wouldn't use. Some of those more like less used dots I haven't messed. Like I don't think I've messed around a lot with Blue Dot, and I think that's because I heard something a long time ago that put me off of it, and I don't even remember what it is. And I don't know if you guys have that experience where somebody told you something once before and you thought, "Ooh, I think I'm gonna stay away from that," and then years later you don't remember why you stay away from it, but you still do. I'm sure PC Bullet Empire uses it and everything, but you know.
Now, if anybody says they prefer HP 38 over Winchester 231, I don't want to hear it. It's the same thing, a different jug.
I tell you, the answer, my answer to Chico's question, which is, what is a powder that you really don't like to use? And I'm assuming that's based on your experience with that powder, something that you have used. The answer for me is Hodgdon CFE pistol. And the reason why is it gives you good velocity, but the accuracy is not there. And I prefer other pistol powders. Like I prefer Power Pistol, the Shooters World Heavy Pistol, and Tight Group and handgun stuff. And the CFE pistol does everything but shoot straight for me. And maybe that's just me, but yeah, I got some H110 I'm dying to try in 357 Magnum. And I'm going to tell y'all something else that y'all may or may not know. I probably have told y'all this, but Western Powders is bought out accurate. And a lot of their powders that a lot of Accurate's powders were from Lovex, which is the mother company of Shooters World. So when they bought Accurate, a lot of their powders they discontinued and labeled them, started using some of their own stuff. Western, I mean. So Lovex didn't have an outlet in the United States for their stuff. So they created Shooters World, and what most of these Shooters World powders that we're starting to learn about and starting to use are really the old Accurate arm stuff.
I'm telling you, I'm a fan of this heavy pistol. I really like it. Everybody else that shot it at the range that day liked it too. That's some good stuff.
It is, and thanks, Curtis. I've been working on my beard for what 2.5 months now.
Yeah, it looks
So,
good.
Yeah,
I think
you
the only
better
powder
enjoy-
I've used that I hadn't ever had any trouble with, and now just sits on the bench is Harbor Freight Red.
I don't know. I like mixing it with some Eastwood colors. You get some pretty crazy effects going.
Okay, Chico, you brought up the question. What's the one you don't like to use?
The one that I don't like to use, and y'all gonna be like, that's not a real answer, is this Shooter's World, because I haven't used it, because it is the data is out there. I believe it's online only though. There is no, well, there probably is a manual for it. If I contact the company, Jamie, and I know you're familiar with this company, but for me, I like to have that hard copy of a manual, so I don't always have to. Right. So that's the only one I don't like, because I haven't have that hard. I know that's weird. Sometimes I fall asleep with a loading manual in my hand, because the tablets and all our electronics don't always last, battery power. So so far I like my CFE pistol. I could be biased because that was the first powder that I tried and it didn't blow up. Me being a new loader. Um, but I'll tell you one thing about the CFE pistol. It compared to the tight group, I can get more rounds from tight group than I can with CFE pistol.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
And they're going to shoot straighter too.
All right.
So, what are you looking for? I've got we probably should do this after we get off the air, but I've got the whole guide printed out right here. So,
Hey, Rigby.
Hey, Rigby.
Chico, I do feel the need to go out and I know this might seem to correct you in that you held up that Lee book as a reloading manual. That's a reference guide.
Oh, that was the first one. I'm sorry.
It's not necessarily a reloading manual, because the data in there is sometimes really sketch.
Right? Yeah. That was just the closest one I had in my hand. Yeah, I've got plenty of them, for my different stuff. But
well, I just wanted to say that for Uncle Jim's sake, so that he knows that we're not
yeah, he did the balloons on the side.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we haven't knocked on Glock yet tonight.
It's funny. I'm not a Glock owner, so I don't really have a dog in this fight. And now that I have purchased and shot a CZ, I'm kind of on the Scotsman world now.
What was so funny is when me, Jamie, Chico, and Scotsman were at the range, I said, "Here, shoot this," and handed. Was it you, Chico, or Jamie?
It was me talking about the Glock.
And on like the third shot, it failed to fire or failed to feed or something like that. And Scotsman turns around and goes, "Yep, Glock perfection right there." That was hysterical.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I can say one more thing about powder, I see a lot of overlapping, and you guys got to know I only load pistol, so I'm not looking at what powders overlap in rifle. So when I'm loading pistol, 9mm or 45, when I see a lot of overlap in the powders, and I haven't tried this auto comp, and that's Winchester. So I may be picking up some of that, because I see a lot of overlap from the different rounds or the different grain of bullets. Like I see it for 115 grain. I shoot that sometimes, but I mainly shoot 124 grain 9mm. And that is almost in every load manual that I have. I'll see that auto comp in there. Sometimes you won't see that CFE pistol, or you won't see the tight group sometimes. So that and universal, I see that a lot of overlap in that.
Before you go buying a whole pound of powder, call me, and if I've got it, you're more than welcome to it. We can meet at lunch or something like that, and I'll give you a pound for you to load you some up and go shoot it, because you can ask Jamie. I've got a bunch of off-the-wall stuff that I just bought a pound of to try.
Right.
And I've got my go-tos, and that's what I go to. The rest of that stuff's just sitting in the gun safe.
Cool, brother. Cool, definitely.
So I've got Benchmark. I got all kinds of stuff that you're probably looking at.
Right.
See, most of my reloading manuals I look at, I have to figure out if they're talking about balloon head cases. That was before color printing.
Nice. Now, I'd tell you one of the powders I definitely don't use, and that's Kenny's homemade powder. I don't have reloading data for that.
Matchsticks.
Man, that was an awesome deal. It's funny because that's come back around lately, and people have been talking about it, and I don't know why, but it just came up on my suggested videos list the other day, and I watched it again. I'm like, that was a darn fine production. That whole Taco Apocalypse thing, man. I kind of wish I would have got into it. I know I was busy doing other crap, but man, there was a lot of fine videos that came out over that. You guys did some great work.
I enjoyed watching them.
Curtis and Johnny's Reloading Bench talk about the burger manual. I've read through one. I don't have it anymore, and I don't know what happened to it. There are a lot of really good manuals out there for reading. And you know what? The one thing I'll say, Chico, I bust on that Lee manual quite a bit. The reading in it, if you have a good basis of understanding of reloading and you read the Lee manual, there's a lot of good information in there. It's just some of it's kind of throwaway because it's his opinion. But there's a lot of good data. There's a lot of good information in there. It's just that the reloading data on it I consider reference because it's so all over the place. But
which is funny that we're willing to knock that. And I'm not disagreeing. I haven't read the Lee manual or reference book or whatever it is. But, we kind of give that caveat to it, and then we all go look at each other's YouTube videos.
Absolutely. Yeah. Isn't that crazy, man? I just don't – I hate giving out – I don't know why. I don't like giving out the actual data on YouTube, like what I'm actually loading. I don't – like in the case of that 32 H&R mag, I was shooting way over max, and I'm like, see – don't follow what we do. I don't know, man. It's messed up. I agree. That is messed up.
If I could be so bold, I got that from Jamie. Look, if I could be so bold, Mr. JRB is out there, and I wonder, does he have a powder that he does not like that he would not use? I'm seeing one of his comments that says BLC2 is half pot and soil. I don't even know what that is.
What? Something about potting soil? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, he was saying the BLC2 is probably half potting soil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, but it's a shake mix, not a stir mix. And that's the difference.
Okay.
The James Bond potting mix powder.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you, Chico, you were talking about how factory powder, this is something I've been told, is that factory powder, like you go to the Federal or whatever, they get their powder, even if it's coming from Hodgdon, right? Let's say they're getting a truckload of H4350. That powder might technically be the exact same stuff that you're getting in your pound, but it's all coming in a large shipment, and it's stored very specifically.
Right.
And that storage actually can make a big difference in how the powder performs. I don't think as much as it used to, because so many powder manufacturers are putting additives to make it less temperature sensitive. But I know that, like, I have certain cans of powder that are old, and they act different than newer powder, the exact same. And it's not. I know there's different lot things, but I think the temperature storage has a quite a bit to do with how the powder necessarily is going to act in a year or 2 years, or some of it. I mean, I've actually got metal cans of powder. I don't use it anymore because I think there's rust in it, but probably need to dump it out.
Do any of you have a CFE pistol or tight group bottle with you right now, or HP 38?
I can go get three.
I think I got all those.
Where's the lot number at? Is that right here?
It'll be stamped on it like a date code on a milk
Right
carton.
there. Is that it?
All right, what are you looking for?
What
Right there, Chico.
Okay.
what powder is that, Jamie? Tight group. And what's the lot number on it?
10329162576.
Okay, yeah. Mine is 102211726330. So I've heard that lot numbers, just like Nathan was saying, could be different. I mean, well, let me see. I said that totally wrong. The powder mixture or your charge can be a little different between two different lots. That sounds a little better.
Yeah, it can. I mean, in fact, most of your manuals tell you to do a decrease when you change powder lots.
Right. For the
Um,
same powder.
Yeah. Like this CFE pistol is from the 104th day of 2018. So it's, it's not quite a year old, but it's getting close. Or in a couple months it'll be a year old. Heck, I just opened it though.
I've been told the reason you'll see a little bit of difference in reloading manuals between like 296 and H110. They're the same powder, but you'll see a very slight difference in max charge listed. Is probably based on lot number. I can't confirm that, so I'm just speaking out of school, but it sounds plausible to me.
Yeah, I mean it's plausible, and it's also, I think some of it depends on who they are looking to for. Like for instance, if you're looking at let's say 32 H&R mag, if you're looking at the effect of that on the worst possible gun that you could run into, you know what I mean? Some people, some powder or some reloading manuals seem to ignore the fact that there are guns in that caliber that can't take that, and some don't. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but I've definitely seen that before, where you'll have a load listed in one manual that's good for 90% of the guns, and then a load listed in another manual that's good for all of them. I don't know what to say to that, but
It'll be 0.2 of a grain difference in the same powder.
yeah, and it's like what they're doing is it's like they're lowering the charge a little bit just in case you've got an old M&P Smith & Wesson from 1922.
Right. Is it sort of like they got a buffer in there, for safety, sort of? Well, that's how I take it, sort of.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard and it's also like if you look at the Lee's one that does this, because it's like it's using loading data from all kinds of different points. When did it pull that data out of that manual?
Right.
So if it pulled that data out of the Lyman 48th edition, and now you've got the Lyman 50th edition where there's been slight changes made, the Lee one will look different than the Lyman, even though that's Lyman data. And
Yeah,
using
for 44 250 grain Keith bullet. When I look in my Spear 13th edition that I have, the max load for H110 is under the minimum suggested load in my Lyman Cast bullet handbook.
Wow.
Yeah. Man, when you get into the cast bullets, it gets really wonky with that because of what they're trying to keep you from leading your gun, I guess.
Especially start buying NOE molds because there ain't load data for none of them. Like my Keith bullet mold, I haven't made any flat point Keith bullets yet. I've been making these hollow points, and they're coming out at 262 to 265. You find me load data for a 265 or 262 to 265 grain Keith hollow point in a 44 Magnum. It's pretty much put some powder in there and go shoot it and see what it looks like. So that's what I've been doing, and I've found what works. I mean,
yeah, there's a big difference between a guess and a highly educated guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was an educated guess. I had 5 manuals in front of me. But pretty much everybody
gets you in serious trouble.
Well, everybody on the panel except for you and Nathan shot them and loved them. So
I need to get up there and do
enough
that.
punch to make you know that you shot a 44 Magnum, but not enough to break your wrist.
Look, I got a rookie question. Even though I've read on it and I've read it over and over again. One thing with the Shooter's World powder, and you know what, I said that wrong. I have their manual or their loading data, but I only have it on my tablet. I don't have a hard copy. But they go into talking about their powders as some of them are single base powders and some of them are double base powders. I read that many times, and I didn't know if you guys can put it in the Chico terms, and or probably it'll help someone in the side maybe, or even someone in the side chat may have a answer to that about the single base versus double base powders.
I don't know a ton about it. I really don't.
Okay.
That's kind of out of my. I know I've read about it, but I think at the time I didn't pay a ton of attention.
Right. It didn't matter too much, right?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It was like in one ear, out the rubber. I just didn't. I didn't
That's-
retain it.
It's like dextrose based powders and it's something else. You can make gunpowder different
Cellulose.
ways.
I can answer
Cellulose.
that. A single base powder is nitrocellulose, is the main component, 90 to 98%. But when you get to double base powders, they add nitroglycerin, 8 to 23% as an energetic modifier.
See, you never know what you'll learn on the Georgia Shooting Connection.
Right. See?
It's small percentage of stabilizers or other additives similar to single base powders. They have they're basically higher energetic value than single base, and their ballistic performance is generally superior to the single base powders. And that's straight from the Shooter's World Manual.
Yeah, I was reading that too. That's why I brought that up, because I've read it over time and time again, because Shooter's World has a comparison chart that show you what their powder is very comparable to. And it seems to be, to me, like this powder I have.
It's a burn rate chart.
Right.
And that would be just inside the front cover. So what powder is it that you're looking at, Chico?
Well, I was trying to see like what, and this is weird. I was trying to see is my CFE or type group, is that a single base or a double base? I don't know why. That's just a rookie reloader, newbie kind of question, kind of sort of.
I don't think it's a rookie question. I think it's one of those questions you ask when you don't know not to ask it, and then you forget about it and ignore it. And then when you get to be a seasoned reloader, you go back to that question.
Yeah, probably,
Because I don't know, man. I don't know what difference it makes and which powders are what's and not. But I mean, I know it has to have. I mean, I heard Jamie said it has to have some kind of effect. I just don't know how to use that in a comparison basis, like with reloading. It's like I'm comparing stuff, not so. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's why certain powders are dirty. Man, speaking of dirty powders, does anybody else run into like factory ammunition that's just filthy lately? I don't shoot a lot of factory, but
What's factory ammunition?
yeah, right. I was just gonna say.
I mean, I don't shoot a lot of factory, but I did the other week because we didn't have a bullet sizer, and we wanted to go out and shoot her CZ, and just when I cleaned that thing afterwards, I mean, it was only 100 rounds or whatever. That thing was just filthy. And it wasn't just like powder resin. I mean, it was almost like to the point of, it was really dirty. And I was just like, wow, I can take my Kimber out, shoot 200 rounds, do that 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and like, oh, blow it out and I'm done, And that's with Unique. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if they're putting some kind of crap in the powder to make it non-lead based something or another that's ruining it. I have no idea.
It's got to meet California emission requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that's actually an issue right now. Somebody was saying that to be careful with old load data, because your primer mixtures have changed to meet with environmental regulations, and that old load data may not be applicable anymore, because there's a lot of times I went back to old load data. So
what I think's going on with the single base and double base is everybody's trying to make a a powder that uses less quantity to get the same quality, kind of like Tight Group. Because I mean, you're talking what, 3.5 grains in a 9mm.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's hardly any powder in there, so they have to do something to make it go boom. Because that 3 grains of powder has to do pretty much the same job as 5.5 of Power Pistol.
So that'll probably be a double base powder.
So I think it's something to give it more bang for the buck. I think is what it is, and it's cheaper to just add. The heck is it?
Unicorn dust.
Unicorn powder or some stuff. Vanessa's got me confused with the trinitro-toluene. I'm like, no, we're not making TNT. No. But I think it's just adding more bang for the buck so you can get the same effect out of a smaller amount of powder, thus making the powder more affordable, if you would call it that.
Right. Well, I appreciate it. You know what? If I can say this too, JRB did answer my question. He said he fell behind on the stream, but he said, sorry, I appreciate it, brother. He said BLC2 is a rifle powder that he has never had any luck with, but he says for pistol stuff, he don't have powders he don't like. It all works for him. So I appreciate you answering that question, sir.
Yeah, dude, that there's something that I'll tell you one thing I really did enjoy that came through YouTube. There was a time when me focusing on target shooting with handguns was getting out of hand. I was spending so much time and really trying to focus on it. And if I had a group that was under a certain size or over a certain size, I get really frustrated and upset. And I was searching some guns. I was searching through loads, and I was never settling on a load. And I started watching YouTube, and I started watching Hickok, and just slapping steel and having fun. And he's like, "Yeah, these guns are all more accurate than me," and it really kind of helped like realign the way I looked at handgun shooting. And it's like, yeah, you can get Nat's ass with it, but you can also have a lot of fun. And he's right. Like, the gun's most likely more accurate than you. So
That's funny you say that, because I think the first videos I remember you putting out, or that I remember seeing, was your mom's 357, and that didn't work out so well.
yeah, I got that thing. I got that thing shooting all right by the time I was done with it. But
there was some frustration in the process, if I remember right.
yeah, there was. And part of the frustration is that gun should shoot a lot better than it does. And I don't know why it doesn't. And we've never really figured out quite why it doesn't shoot as well as it should. But I mean, I think I got most of everything around an inch-ish, and I was like, that's good enough for government work. But I'll tell you what, a couple years back, if I can't get something sub half inch or so, especially at that kind of yardage, I would have been really frustrated. So YouTube's helped me out that way a lot to kind of calm down. Because I was getting that
quick.
Yeah, man.
Ozark, I'm just saying, you might want to talk to Jamie. Okay, just saying. Little birdie told me that you might want to talk to Jamie.
Fair enough. What's that about?
Ozark can't seem to find any unique.
Oh man, that sucks, dude. I'm not a hoarder, but I've always got at least 2 or 3 pounds of that laying around. I need to start buying it by the bucket, like Jamie, I do trail balls.
He was walking through Cabela's. He goes, "Weren't you looking for a unique?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "They got a bottle right here. You want me to pick it up?" I'm like, "If you're there, yeah. Bring it over to the house on your way home. I'll pay you for it."
I get around a lot. I go. I'm over 5 chapters, and I'm from the Tennessee-Georgia line down to Marietta, east as far as Canton, and then the Alabama line. So I get
go
to
up
hit
to
a
North
lot
Georgia
of guns.
reloading with you.
Yeah, I go up there. Yeah, I got to get with them on this. My next load of 35 Remington is Shooter's World Tactical Rifle, and there's no data. And I've been talking to their ballistics expert, and I think I got some load data for him to try out. that's another thing that we need to talk about when you're looking at data in your manual. A lot of these, you got to look at what firearm is producing these results in these manuals.
Most
You
of the
gotta
time,
pay attention.
universal chamber.
Test barrels.
Test barrels, and that's what the man told me, was that he don't have a 35 Remington test barrel, so he hadn't been able to test it. Well, I guess I'm his guinea pig because he told me where to start looking. He said that that powder was between 2,200 and 2,300. Well, there ain't no 2,300 anymore. You can't find it on the burn rate chart. And so I come across, what was this? 2230, which is also the same on the burn rate chart as H335. And so this, that bottle has 3030 data. So I got in there and was relating what it was telling me with what 335 was telling me for 3030. And then I compared that with what was in the manuals for 35 for H335. And I come up with some, basically it's the same loads as H335 and, well, I got it written down, but there's 3 powders that I've tested in that I use the same loads. So that one's going to be the same as those. But I'm excited about trying that and sending my results to Shooter's World and to North Georgia Reloading, and hopefully, and I'm still working on getting North Georgia Reloading to be one of our sponsors on the Reloaders Network, but they stay so busy up there, it's hard to talk to them.
Oh, that reminds me of a lot of stuff there that I hate to bring up right here, right at closing time. Guys, send some good wishes out to Bigger. I don't know what's going on. I haven't talked to him lately. So I don't know exactly what the situation is. Did Bacon, have you talked to him?
I have not, but it seems like I saw a comment from him a few hours ago on somebody else's video. I think
He sent me a couple of texts and some Facebook messages, just sharing some videos he thought was funny, and I did too. So he knew I'd enjoy them, so he sent them to me. They're trying to get rid of this blood poisoning, sepsis stuff. That he's on all kinds of stuff, and he's not doing great, but he's getting better every day. And but the poisoning is still spreading to a couple of places, and he's trying to get that stopped. But all in all, he's in good spirits.
Well, everybody send out prayers to him. He's a really kind, really nice guy, and I hate to see anybody under the weather.
And he has one hell of a sense of humor.
Yes, he does. Dude,
yeah, Uncle Jim provided us a logo for Shooter's World, and then said that Bigger's doing okay.
Okay.
One more time.
Oh, Uncle Jim was providing a new logo for Shooter's World powder, and then he was saying that Bigger's doing okay.
Okay.
Well, we need to keep Big Al in our prayers as well.
Absolutely. I know he doesn't want a lot of fanfare. That's why I haven't talked about it too much. But definitely keep him in his prayers. Check out his channel if you haven't checked it out. Big Al does some great stuff.
Big Al is one of the best dressed shooters you'll ever see.
Absolutely. Puts me to shame. So, guys, we want to go around the room, talk about what we got coming up next. We are past 10, so we'll go ahead and start closing things down.
Sure, guys. Thanks for showing up. I don't have much going on. I've got a lot of this 45 different loads of all these powders I was talking about today, except for Shooter's World. I just need to get to the range and try them out. And I didn't want to say it, but I got to let you guys know, if you haven't, everyone pretty much here knows our brother Insight Freedom. And after this live stream, if you guys go to his page and check out, he received the box today. So you can welcome welcome him to our community. And I'm not gonna tell you what it's about, but just go check it out if you guys can. But welcome him when you can and help him out if he needs help. And that's it for me. Thanks for having me. Thanks for answering the questions, Coach Brothers, JRB, and Uncle Jim, everybody. Thanks. I want to thank Bacon for being here, our special guests, and that's it for me.
All right, Kyle, what you got coming up next, man?
I've got a lot of time spent at the reloading press going, and I'm actually going to be ending up using 3 different presses to get it all done because they're already set up for the calibers I need to load. I'm just going to quick change the presses out and go to it. Going to have a lot of fun next weekend. Got the kids this weekend. It's supposed to rain again, so that's going to limit some stuff, but I really want to thank Bacon for taking the time out of his day to stop by and hang out with us. I've had a lot of fun tonight. It's been fun. It's been a long day, and I'm really tired. And I'm sorry I wasn't as energetic as I normally am. I'm just long day. I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. All the 48 people I think we saw. Thanks for coming by. We do this pretty much every Friday night, so we're all
Except for next Friday.
And if we know the answer to any questions, we're more than happy to share some information. That's what all of us do. And if y'all think that we have any information, you hadn't seen nothing. Go to the Reloaders Network. That's where the information is. They're all there. What? Need a spicy shrimp and grits video? Okay, Tim.
Are you doing Survival Sunday this week?
I'm going to be real busy with a bunch of reloading, and I might. And we're going to talk about this on the after chat. I might make some videos and put them up on Gunstreamer for y'all to look at if you want to. But we're going to talk about that in the after chat because I was apparently boring the hell out of everybody earlier. So anyway, that's all I got.
Uncle Jim asked if a Moozer's going to be around. I talked to him actually last week, right after our chat. He had sent me a message before saying that he was interested in jumping in. I always send him an invite, and then I talked to him a little bit later, and he had some stuff come up. He is trying to get back to it. It's just, you know how things divert you away, and it's hard to get back in. So he's still interested. He's still watching stuff, So we do appreciate it. What you got going on, Jamie?
Well, I'm starting to try to learn how to wet tumble my brass with these pins, and the pins are a source of aggravation. You try to keep them all together, and you wind up losing them. I've got loads 7 and 8 of 35 Remington loaded up. Just got to get to the range and do the test and shoot the videos. I've got the Mauser is back together, and I need to do a first shots video on that. I need to cast up some bullets and get to working on some cast loads in that. Maybe a surprise in that video. I've got 2 of those rifles. One I've never shot either one of them yet, so I need to get busy on all that stuff. But still working, and I want to thank everybody for stopping by to spend our Friday nights with us. We just love having y'all all. We thank Bacon for stopping in with us tonight too, and just been a busy week, and it's nice to decompress with some like-minded reloading type dudes, gun guys.
This is the first full work week of 2019.
Woohoo!
It is.
That's why I'm so damn tired. I've had a bunch of 3-day weeks in a row.
Bacon, is the TRN chat next week?
It is. It's going to be next Saturday on the 243 Outdoors channel.
Okay. I wanted to get that out there before. I know I got insight and a couple other people jumping off. So, guys, we are not going to be on next week. It's going to be Saturday night on 243 Outdoors. And he's going to be doing the Reloaders chat on Saturday night.
I can't believe Josh wasn't here tonight.
I don't see him. I don't see him that often. I mean, I think he works nights sometimes. So he has a. I think he has an odd schedule.
Yeah, but he usually pops in and says, "Hey guys, got to go."
Yeah. So Jamie, were you done? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, brother. I just wanted to get that out there before people jumped out.
Oh, I'm done, man. Thanks.
All right. So Bacon, what you got going on?
I've been able to, well, not recently, but I'm still editing video for the first couple trips to the range with the round ball loads. Some interesting results. I need to cast some more of those up. Those go pretty quick. And the biggest thing I've got coming up is I'm going to be at SHOT Show in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
So there's a couple of folks that that we all know that I'm going to run into out there. I'm looking forward to that, seeing them, and then looking forward to playing at the world's biggest gun show and
Absolutely.
seeing everything they have offered. And I'm really hoping to get the Reloaders Network name out so that we get a bunch of those guys looking at all the authors at the Reloaders Network and see what we're doing and try to get them involved with us in some capacity. So,
yeah.
Hey, Bacon, you got a notebook handy?
I do.
Okay. If you stop by a Wild West Guns booth, look for Luke Powers and tell him Kyle said, hey. He used to live up here and moved out there and got him a job at Wild West Guns building off the wall, like 460 lot lever actions, and loves it.
Well, you did say his name is Luke Powers, so I mean, you know.
Well, I will definitely look for him. From what I hear, there's 12.5 miles of booths there.
Oh, it's
Wow.
ridiculous. Yeah. I went there once when I lived out there, and I was like, this is too much. I'm going home.
So Bacon, is there going to be any videos from you guys' hunt?
I don't have anything worth looking at from the part of the day that I was there. So I was hoping to get there the night before. That didn't happen. So I left early in the morning, drove several hours. We got there. I saw some whitetail. Of the four of us hunting, three of them saw the same hog. The guy I was near shot at it, and the other two saw it run by. We had lunch. We went back out. Didn't see anything. Did a little bit of shooting at the range, and then while we were there, I got a text from my wife that said, not only are some of the kids sick, but it's getting worse. And my wife's temp just hit 103, and so I jumped in the truck and drove back home and got home that night, and then started a week and a half of the plague.
Yeah, I can only imagine, man. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we appreciate you jumping on with us.
I appreciate you having me, brother. This has been awesome, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. So it's been a real honor to be here.
Yeah, I like when we have the special guests come in. We get to hear something different from some different people, so it's not so much of a sounding board. I appreciate the work you're doing with the Reloaders Network, and that's really helped us as content creators. Helped me a lot. Helped me to catch people videos that I don't normally would have watched or weren't in my suggested videos, being that we don't get those anymore. But I really do appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to whatever it is that you're going to be putting out. I don't have a heck of a lot coming up here soon. I'm going to do a video on the upper and the 450, and I think I'm going to scrap. I worked on this video that I was doing for Gun Fun ZS and Charles Irby about powder measure, and it's a lot of data, it's a lot of information, and I've tried to edit it, and it's just not coming out. I think I'm going to end up having to scrap it. Which is unfortunate because there's a lot of information, but it's very specific, and I don't know, it's not coming out too well. So I got that going on. We're gonna head to the range tomorrow, I think, and she's gonna unload all the stuff that she's loaded up for the 9mm. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of stuff on the Reloaders Network. It's where all my reloading videos are going to go now. So check out the Reloaders Network. Check out 243 Outdoors next week. Check out Measuring Grains and tell him that I appreciate what he's done. And Big Al, send some prayers to him, to Bigger Behind the Trigger. Check out Big Al's channel. He's just got good content. So does Bigger, but his channel's a lot newer. And everybody, I appreciate everybody coming out. Like I said, we've had a ton of people on. It's ridiculous. I love it. And I love getting to talk with you guys. So I think I'm done for the night. Anybody want to say any last words? And we're going to cruise on out.
Everyone have a safe weekend. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
And look out tomorrow morning. I think JRB said he's got a handgun video coming out tomorrow. It's been quite a while since he's had a handgun video. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, that is going to be different.
And as Mr. Holster would say, get out and stay safe.
Absolutely. So, guys, I appreciate it. Have a good night. And if I don't see you on the Reloaders Network chat next week on 243 Outdoors channel, then we will all see you the week after that. So have a good night and a good weekend. We will talk to you later. Night.
Night.
Good night, guys.